Come, sit by the fire, traveller. Tonight, let your shoulders drop a little. Set down whatever you carry. Tell me, when two souls face the very same pain, the very same fear, why does one walk away lighter, while the other grows heavier still? Where does that difference begin? Tonight, I will tell you of two old men, each with a lump upon his cheek. The same Oni, the same dance, and yet their fates could not have been more different. Long ago, in a quiet village tucked among wooded hills, there lived an old man with a large growth on his right cheek. People stared. Some were unkind enough to tease, but the old man never seemed to mind. He hummed as he worked, and his eyes were always a moment away from crinkling into a smile. More than anything, the old man loved to dance. Whenever something pleased him, a good harvest, a kind word, the smell of rain, his feet would begin to move on their own. Joy, it seemed, was simply too large a thing to carry in silence. It had to come out through his heels. One afternoon, the old man climbed into the mountains to gather firewood. The sky had been clear when he left home, but mountains keep their own weather. Before long, the clouds thickened, and the rain came down hard and cold. He clutched his bundle of wood. "Oh, this is a problem," he muttered, looking for somewhere to shelter. He found shelter in the hollow of a great old tree, pressing himself against the damp wood inside. He waited. The rain kept falling. The light faded, slowly at first, then all at once. Night settled over the mountain like a cloth drawn across a lamp. There was nothing to do but pull his knees close and wait for morning. Deep in the night, sounds came rolling through the dark forest. Low drums, something like a flute, and laughter that rumbled like distant thunder. The old man peered carefully from the hollow. His breath caught. There, in a clearing ahead, lit by a vast bonfire, were Oni. Red ones, blue ones, creatures of every terrible colour, gathered together to drink and dance and make merry. The Oni stamped and spun with great wild abandon, their enormous shadows leaping across the trees. The old man pressed deeper into the hollow, and yet he could not look away. At first his knees shook, but as the drums beat on, something shifted inside him. The rhythm, the heat, the firelight. His blood began to stir. His toes began to move. The moment arrived when staying still simply became impossible. Before reason could object, the old man burst from the hollow of the tree and stepped into the ring of firelight. "What will be, will be," he laughed. He spread his arms. The Oni went silent. Every enormous head turned to look at this small, cheerful, terrified old man. And then he danced. He poured into that dance every last drop of joy he had gathered across a lifetime. Every good harvest, every kind word, every morning he had woken glad to be alive. He spun, he leaped, he swayed. The firelight caught his face. The lump on his cheek caught the light too. And somehow it only made him look more real, more whole, more completely himself. The Oni erupted. They clapped their enormous hands and roared with laughter that shook the leaves from the nearby branches. "We have never, not in all our long years, seen dancing like that," bellowed the chief. "Old man, you must come back tomorrow. Dance for us again." The old man, still catching his breath, bowed deeply and tried not to look as surprised as he felt. "As a pledge you will return," said the chief, "I will keep something of yours." His great finger and thumb reached out and plucked the lump from the old man's cheek as easily as picking fruit. Not a moment of pain. The old man raised his hand to the smooth place on his cheek and stood very still. When light returned to the forest, the bonfire was cold ash, and the clearing was empty and still. The old man stepped from the hollow, stretched, and almost without thinking, touched his right cheek. Smooth. Perfectly smooth. He stood in the pale morning light, pressing his fingers gently to that smooth skin. Then he laughed, a big, full laugh that scattered the birds from the treetops. He danced all the way down the mountain. His wife clapped and laughed when he told her everything. But honestly, the lump had never truly troubled him. What filled his chest was the memory of dancing, without a single thought of what he might gain. The neighbour was also an old man with a lump, on the left cheek in his case. But he was a different sort of man. Where the first old man hummed, this one grumbled. Where one danced, the other scowled. He was not wicked. He simply had never learned to be easy in his own skin. When the neighbour heard what had happened, something shifted behind his eyes. "They just lifted it off?" he said. "I want that." That same evening, he wrapped himself in his coat and marched up the mountain path. He found the same great hollow tree, pressed himself inside, and settled in to wait, eyes already fixed on what he intended to gain. At midnight, the drums returned. The neighbour burst from the hollow and began to move, but his eyes were on the Oni's faces rather than the music, watching for approval. He moved his arms. He moved his feet. His body was attempting something his heart had not agreed to. The dance was stiff and wrong, a fact immediately, unmistakably clear. One by one, the Oni stopped moving. The chief crossed his arms. "This is nothing like last night," he said. "That man danced because something inside him had to come out. You are dancing to take something home. We have watched joy for a very long time. We know what it looks like. And this is not it." Then the chief reached into the folds of his robe and drew out the lump he had been keeping. Without ceremony or cruelty, simply as a matter of fact, he pressed it onto the neighbour's empty cheek. There was a soft sound, like something being settled into place. The neighbour raised both hands slowly and pressed his palms to both cheeks. His shoulders fell. He walked home alone through the cold dark, both cheeks full, each step heavy. The same mountain, the same bonfire, the same Oni, even the same music. And one man had danced away lighter than he arrived, while another trudged home carrying more than he had brought. The only difference was the thing each man had held inside his chest when he began to move. Can you blame the neighbour, traveller? He was not wicked. He simply arrived with his eyes already on the prize. And that is a familiar kind of night for most of us. The first old man was frightened too. He simply took that trembling and turned it into something else. He danced not to be rewarded, but because joy had nowhere else to go. When fear comes to visit you, what will you turn it into? Tonight, only this. Try not to be clever. Just let yourself be glad. Sleep well, traveller.